California is the only place that I've been. This is the only second time we've been here, and this is the first time we've had to really look around. That's the only place I've ever seen like chromed lawnmowers with the big high bars on them. That kind of really into it. It's a lot different than South Philadelphia.
Hey everybody, John with Vynyly here, and we are back with another fantastic, fabulous 5 on Friday. The album today is this one, You Don't Mess Around with Jim by Jim Croce. Now, don't judge me. This is a little bit of rough. This copy is a little rough. It's a repress. You can see the this hype sticker is printed on the cover, promoting Time in a Bottle. So this was made no earlier than 1973, although the album itself came out in 1972. It is a gatefold with lyrics on the inside, and actually kind of a cool sleeve here too, with kind of a shadowy picture of Jim and Ingrid and their son Adrian James. He goes by the name of AJ Croce. A little picture of them on the sleeve. So we've got we've got 5 good things to talk about here about You Don't Mess Around with Jim. So here we go. Number 1, You Don't Mess Around with Jim is Croce's third album. The first one that produced a single, however. His very first album was self-produced. It was called Facets. Copies of that are extremely rare. If you have a copy of Facets, I would love to see it. Super hard to find. I think there was only maybe 500 copies made. They all sold, but really, really hard to find Facets. Then the second album was Jim and Ingrid Croce, which he did with Ingrid. And then You Don't Mess Around with Jim, his first kind of solo album, although it is the first Croce album to include guitar player Maury Muehleisen. I think it's Muehleisen. Maury was a young student at Rowan University, which at the time was called Glassboro State University in New Jersey. He was a student there, and his professor was friends with Croce. That's how the two of them met. And Maury was a classically trained guitar player, and his playing really filled out Croce's songs and really took them to another level. So the Croce music that you're familiar with, that's Jim and Maury on those recordings. Number 2, there was a 3-year break between Jim and Ingrid Croce, which was released in 1969, and You Don't Mess Around with Jim, which was released in 1972. During that time, the Croces moved to a small apartment in Lindell, Pennsylvania, where Jim continued to work different jobs and wrote the music for this album and some subsequent albums as well. But the front cover of this album was taken in an outhouse which was situated behind the farmhouse where they were renting an apartment. And you can still see that outhouse today. It's still there. Number 3, the title song, You Don't Mess Around with Jim, is set on 42nd Street in New York City, but it was actually inspired by some trips to pool halls and bars in South Street in Philadelphia, on South Street in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. There actually was a guy named Big Jim Walker, who was a very large man who had a 2-piece custom-made pool cue, and was an excellent pool player. And Jim Croce ran across him in pool halls in South Philadelphia. Number 4, many of the songs on this album are very personal.
But Rapid Roy, there are people like that, and I've been trying to write songs about people like that I've bumped into over the course of a lot of years, and a lot of them have bumped into me. I'll do one later about somebody that bumped into me properly without introduction.
New York's Not My Home is about their short stay in New York City, where they became disillusioned with the music business and with New York City. They sold all but one guitar and moved to the farmhouse in Pennsylvania, renting that apartment. Other songs that are very personal are Operator. That's Not the Way It Feels. That's one of his very popular songs these days. That song was inspired by Jim's time in the National Guard, where he was not a very good soldier. And he actually went through basic training twice. He joined the National Guard to avoid being drafted and sent to Vietnam. So he joined the National Guard, had to go through basic training twice, and once said that he would be prepared if the next war was to be fought with a mop. So he did a lot of cleaning up, I guess. Not a great soldier, but the song Operator was inspired by conversations that he overheard some of his other soldiers on the phone talking to their wives and girlfriends who had sent them Dear John letters, letters basically breaking up with them because they were in the service or for any whatever reason it was, because they were away, a lot of them. But Jim overheard those conversations, and that is what resulted in him writing the song Operator.
Operator, well, could you help me place this call? See the number on the matchbook is old and faded. She's living in L.A. with my best old ex-friend Ray. Gosh, she said she knew it and sometimes hated. Isn't there the way they say it goes? But let's forget all that and give me the number if you can't find it, so I can call just to tell them I'm fine and to show I overcome the blow, learn to take it well. I only wish my words could just convince myself that it just wasn't real, but that's not the way it feels.
Number 5. Jim was inspired to write the song Time in a Bottle, which is one of his most beautiful ballads, after his wife Ingrid told him that she was pregnant with their son AJ in December of 1970. So Jim wrote this song, and it wasn't released as a single right away. Now, Jim died in September 73. And it was after that Time in a Bottle was actually released. It was actually after 2 additional albums had been released. And Time in a Bottle, after his death, was released. And it is the 3rd posthumous release to hit number 1 on the Billboard charts, after Sitting on the Dock of the Bay by Otis Redding and Me and Bobby McGee by Janis Joplin. And that's it for another 5 on Friday. Thank you all for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe if you have not done so already, and have a great day.